Hello, everyone in Facebook land. It's Dr. Jen Kordonsky of Optimal Spine Chiropractic. And if you're tuning in, then you know this class is called Coping with Stress, which is very timely right now. But I just want to say for a quick second why we're here, really. This is a class that we teach here in the office on a very regular basis with some adaptations. But every Tuesday night, we teach a different facet of health and wellness care. And the reason is that we know that the body is self-healing, that you have an amazing innate intelligence, and that chiropractic isn't just a treatment for your pain and symptoms, but it's one way of facilitating your optimal expression of health. So the classes are designed to be part of that facilitation. We charge nothing for the classes. We want everyone to get the most self-care information possible so that they can be instrumental in building their own health. And that's what we're all about here, is building health, not just treating problems. So I'm glad that you're all here this evening. I want you to grab a paper and a pen. I'm going to see if I can get a note handout, uploaded for everyone. But there's going to be some things that you're going to want to write down. So please grab a paper and a pen. And like I said, tonight's class is coping with stress. And I just want to say, for the record, that before our world got turned upside down, we already lived in a stress-filled world. We have in our culture 24/7 news and information that 99.9% of it is negative and scary. And I'll point out to you that it's actually normal to feel compelled to consume this information. But it's there and it's constant and it's not positive in any way. We have 24/7 availability. Many people are working from home now, so you know that your work is never ending. We're getting constant bombardment through email and text and social media, and just we're always available to everyone at all times. We live in a culture that is very focused on achieving more and having more and doing more and go, 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 go. So we live this pace of life all the time that's pretty high intensity, high stress. We also have a culture and a society that is constantly, especially through advertising and media, giving us the message that we're not good enough, we're not attractive enough, or our home isn't good enough, our kids aren't living up to the expectations or doing enough activities, and we're being sold all the time services and products and pills to make us better, to help us to be healthy when we're being told that we're not already enough. We consider this an outside-in way of being. But now that we're dealing with the situation that we find ourselves in, we have an already stressful life that is just been turned up to a whole nother level. Everything is different, and we're coping with this unknown of what's coming as well. And if it wasn't affecting you, I'd be shocked. We're all experiencing this, and we feel it in our bodies physically. We feel it emotionally. We notice it in our relationships and our interactions. There's no denying it that we're experiencing more stress than we ever have. And unfortunately, stress often compels us to, go after coping mechanisms for comfort or escape that are often in and of themselves another stress or another toll on our health and our well-being when we reach for unhealthy coping mechanisms. So we're all feeling the effects, but I want to reassure you that it is okay, that we are going to get through this. As human beings, we are built to adapt. We are built to survive, and we have the capacity to overcome and get through this and much more. Now, this is very important, that we have a lot going on around us that is not in our control. And you can't control the economy. You can't control, what's happening out in the world. You can't even control your own thoughts. So I want you to not stress yourself out more by trying to have control over things that you can't possibly have control over. But there are things that are in your control, and that is where you're going to focus your attention. What's in your control are your actions and what you consume. And by what you consume, we'll teach another class about nutrition and what you put into your body. That's certainly in your control. But what I mean by what you consume this evening is the information that you go out of your way to take in. So like I mentioned, that the news and the media that we're exposed to is 99.999% negative. And it's by design, and it's totally normal and natural for you to feel compelled to consume this information. It's a built-in survival mechanism for humans. We need to know what dangers are out there, and we need to tell others about them so that we can survive together. However, if the news were really an accurate representation of what's going on in the world, then it would be far more balanced, right? It wouldn't be 99% negative. I always use this analogy, and I really want you to think about the fact that if the news were an accurate representation of the world, then the intersection that we see outside of our window that has thousands of cars on a normal day go through it, that rarely ever has an accident happen at this major intersection, they would have to report every evening on the news how many people safely got through that intersection. And that's not what happens. That would be bizarre if we saw that on the news. However, if there were an accident at that intersection, we would most certainly hear about it. Right? So the information that we receive is, it's picked to be the most compelling for us to keep clicking, keep reading, keep consuming more of it, but it's not necessarily all for your benefit. It is by and large negative information, and we have to be careful how much of it we consume. Obviously, you need to stay informed. That's not what I'm saying. But we have control over what we consume, and we can take we can be intentional about putting in some positive information as well. Now, the other thing that we have in our control are our actions. So even though you won't be able to control thoughts that you have, you don't have to act on those thoughts. You can make a conscious decision about what actions you take. So this is where we're going to focus our energy, on what is within our control. And remember, what you focus on grows. So you want to pay attention to those things that you want more of. And I really want to point out that we all need to make a conscious decision to choose to see stress as a challenge that could potentially grow us. A challenge that could help us to be even better than before. It's really a mental switch that we have to flip, and we have to help each other stay in the on position. We have to view this stress that we're all facing together as a challenge that we're going to benefit from, as a challenge that's going to bring us out on the other side even better than before. If we see the stress as scary and frightening and going to break us down, then that's how we'll experience it. So it is a choice, and we can help each other to stay conscious of that. So let's look at some actions that we can be taking that are going to be actions that build you up in some way, make you more resilient, more adaptable. So that's what humans are best at. We can adapt to survive. Right? Mentally, physically, we have adaptability. And the more we foster our adaptability, the better we're going to be able to handle this. I want you to see yourself as a very flexible, adaptable So I like to use the analogy of stress coming at us, sometimes in drops and sometimes in floods, right? And we are a receptacle for that water that's coming at us. So if the water is dripping in a little at a time, we can handle that. We're not going to overflow. But if we're getting a lot of water coming in all at once, we might have an overflow, right? So we can choose to make our container bigger. And that's what we're going to talk about, actions that actually make you better able to handle more coming at you. Now, while I certainly want you to cherry pick the information and the stress that's coming at you, we are going to have to become more resilient and adaptable. So here are 6 actions that you can start to use to build your resilience. Number 1 is creating a structure, creating a routine. Structure and routine are calming, they're stabilizing you, they're going to help you get out of the sympathetic mode. And actually, I want to talk to you a little bit about the sympathetic nerve system. So your nerve system has 2 main divisions: sympathetic, which is also known as fight or flight, and parasympathetic, which we like to call the rest and digest. Now, in a healthy, balanced individual, both parts of the nerve system are equally important, and they should be in relative equilibrium, right? We need the sympathetics firing, we need the parasympathetics firing. That maintains homeostasis. Now, like I said, the human being is built to adapt and survive, and we have an amazing capacity to handle stress, and the sympathetic nerve system is what helps us with this. So if you experience a stress, you fire the sympathetic nerve system, right? And you've all felt your heart rate go up. You've felt the surge of adrenaline. You've felt the changes that happen in your body if you have a sudden scare or sudden stress, right? So any stress, whether it be, a near miss in a car accident, or even just, the subtle background noise of, what's going on in the news, whatever the stress is, if we trigger the sympathetic nerve system, there's a chain reaction of changes that happen all throughout the body. It's really amazing how your body is designed to protect itself and to adapt and survive. So to deal with that stress, your body goes into that fight or flight mode. So like I said, it changes everything about your body. The adrenal glands pump out adrenaline. Stress hormones are produced and distributed throughout your body. Your heart rate goes up. Your blood pressure goes up. Digestion changes. The immune system shifts and changes the way it's going to function. The hormones are different. You even change the way blood is flowing in your body, whether your pupils are dilated or constricted. Your brain changes the way it processes information in order to be hyper vigilant and notice anything that's dangerous. Now, all of that is perfect and good and healthy and will help you survive if the stress comes on and then goes away. The problem is, we all know that stress isn't just coming and going once in a while. It's a constant state of affairs now. So what's happening is we're triggering the sympathetic nerve system over and over and over, even when we don't realize it. The subtleties of that constant stress is firing the sympathetics, and so we, instead of being nice and balanced, sympathetics and parasympathetics are going, and we're way out of balance, and we're like that all the time. Now, our physiology is not meant to function like that all the time. So if the heart rate and the blood pressure and the hormonal changes are constant, that starts to wear down your body and can have a damaging effect on your health. This can lead to all sorts of health problems. It definitely takes a toll on your immune system. We all want a strong immune system, especially right now. So we want our body to be in that balanced state, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So we're going to talk about these actions, and they're all designed to help bring you back into homeostasis. So the structure, creating a structure and a routine, is an action that you can take that will help give order and take somebody who's feeling that sympathetic surge back into a parasympathetic state. It can recenter you. If you've ever, I'm not big into sports, but I have to watch them sometimes. If you see a golfer getting ready to take a swing, there's a certain, warm up that they go through, or a basketball player about to take a shot. They have a little routine, right, that they do every time, and it centers them and it brings them back to parasympathetic, sympathetic balance. For our kids, a structure and a routine is so critical. If any of you are, trying to homeschool your children right now, if you're trying to work from home, having structure and a routine, you don't have to have it so rigid that it can't change. But just having a framework in place is going to help you to be less stressed and to be more resilient. So, number 2 is prioritize sleep. This is huge. Have you ever seen an overtired toddler have a meltdown? We are all an overtired toddler when we don't get enough sleep or a good quality of sleep. We've just learned that it's not appropriate to throw yourself on the floor, kick, scream, and cry. Right? But the same things are happening in your body and in your brain, the way you're processing information. You are not at your best when you are tired. You are not at your best when you've even had slightly less than optimal sleep. What we see now is that melatonin, the sleep hormone that your body produces, is actually very helpful in fighting viruses. So we want to have a good amount of melatonin in our body. We want to be rested. This is going to allow our mental health to thrive, as well as our physical body to be strong and healthy. So we're going to like I said, give you some notes. We're going to get the notes on there for some tips for healthy sleep. But all you really have to do is Google it. There's some real basic things that a lot of people just aren't applying. And we're thinking, oh, well, I don't sleep well, or, oh, my mind is racing. And there's little things that we need to be paying attention to in order to make it possible for us to have a good night's sleep. 2 things. One doesn't often come up when you Google it. The other one does. So light. Exposure to light blocks your body from producing melatonin, so you don't get yourself prepared for a good night's sleep. So you want to lower the lights in your home in the evening. You want to use filters so that you're not getting a lot of light from your device that maybe you're reading on your iPad or something in the evening, or watching a movie. And then just turning those things off in enough time to settle down so you have a good night's sleep. So that you'll find when you Google it, a couple of other things. But I do want to point out that one of the best ways to get a good night's sleep is to be tired when you go to bed. And I don't just mean mentally exhausted, because believe me, I know you're mentally exhausted at the end of a day, especially right now. What I mean is physically. Your body needs to be physically tired. And if you haven't moved it and exercised it, you might be mentally exhausted and think that you're tired, but your body still needs to be moved and to get rid of some physical energy, even though it may not feel like you have any. So that leads me into action number 3, that you can take a positive action by adding exercise to your life. You have to train yourself to be a person who exercises. That doesn't have to be a big production. It just means carving out some time and having some intentional movement. Build it into your schedule. I don't care if it's 2 minutes or 2 hours. Just do something. Move your body and build it into your day. Now, for those of you who are OSC practice members, we want to help you with this. So if you're feeling a little like, I don't know where to start or what should I do, contact us. We are more than happy to sit down. We have a little extra time right now, just like you. So we will set up some, or have a discussion with you about where to start. What kind of exercise could you do? What would be safe for you? Maybe give you some specific stretches or exercises to do. So reach out to us. But exercise, I always love this expression. If all the benefits of it were in a pill, we would all want that pill. Among all of the benefits, you are going to get an endorphin release, the pleasure, the feel good neurotransmitters that your body makes. You're going to get a change in your breathing, which we're going to talk about. It's a reset and a stress release, as well as then making you more adaptable to the stresses that are coming. So it's kind of like if you're that bucket and it's filling up with stress, we got to drain some of it off. And exercise is a beautiful way to do that. Just think about it. If I said right now, drop and give me 20, when you got up, would you feel the same? Would your breathing be the same? Would your blood flow be the same? No, everything would be different. So it's that physiological reset, and we have to take advantage of it. Number 4 action step that we can take is deep breathing. So we talked a little bit about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nerve system. When you take a conscious deep breath and you breathe into your abdomen, and you fill your lungs up, you hold it, and then you relax and exhale, that is going to stretch the phrenic nerve, stimulate the vagus nerve, and automatically stimulate the parasympathetic nerve system. So this imbalance that we have, sympathetic overload, if we stimulate the parasympathetics, think of them like being on a teeter-totter. One has to come down for the other one to come up. So by going out of your way to take some deep breaths, that stimulates the parasympathetics and settles you down. Now, if we do this just in the moment of feeling stressed, then it could be helpful. But it's even more helpful if it's something that you do regularly. So as part of a morning routine or as part of getting ready for bed at night, I just lay down at night and I take 3 deep breaths, and that's, tells my body it's time to go to sleep, it's time to settle down. And then in the times of stress, my body's had more practice with using that tool, and you get a better relaxation response. So nice deep breaths, intentional, and done regularly. Skill number 5, or action number 5, is meditation. Meditation is a proven strategy to become more resilient, more adaptable, less reactive, more peaceful. And it does not have to be an hour-long meditation session. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's as simple as sitting with a timer, whether you have 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There's been changes shown in research studies in the gray matter of a person's brain with as little as 10 minutes a day of meditation for as short as 2 weeks. So this is a mental exercise. It may seem difficult, but it's as simple as could possibly be. You can't really do it wrong. The idea is just to sit with a timer, like I said, and focus on your breath. You're going to get the benefit of deep breathing, like we already talked about, relaxing the nerve system. And it's this process of just noticing when thoughts come up. I was under the mistaken impression that you had to clear your mind to be good at meditation. The idea here is that you're just practicing clearing your mind. So when the thoughts come up, you can notice them, be kind to yourself, and just let it go. And just go back and refocus on your breathing. It's a very powerful tool. It's so simple. There's lots of apps. There's things you can follow along with if you want a guided meditation. They're all great, but in its purest form, a timer, your breath, and choosing to let thoughts go as they come. It will make a difference in your adaptability. Tool number 6 is actually a trio of tools. I want you to write down this acronym, GAS, G-A-S. It stands for gratitude, action, and service. Gratitude is a topic we can do a whole workshop about. Gratitude is like an exercise, like meditation. It's a skill that you can hone that's going to shift your focus. It's going to help you stay tuned into the things that are good and going right. And that's what you want to focus on so that you can get more of that, create more of that, attract more of that. When we focus on what is not going well, what we don't like, which is it's easy for us. It's the reflex. You don't have to force yourself to notice what's not going right. Right? That's our instinctive, our survival adaptation, that we always are on the lookout for what's not good. Right? It's a, like I said, survival mechanism. What takes a little bit more work is training ourselves to focus on the positive, what is working for us. But when you do, it actually will change the way you see the world and open you up to more positive things. When we're looking for them, you find what you look for, essentially. So gratitude is really important, really helpful, and really easy. All you have to do is have a notepad, a gratitude journal. It doesn't have to be fancy. Scrap of paper. Take some time, 2 minutes every day, to write down at least 3 things that you are grateful for. And the more specific you can be, the more impactful it will be. If you write the same thing every day, my family, my house, my whatever, if you write that, it doesn't have as much feeling in it, and it becomes mechanistic. And if it's mechanistic and you're not really feeling it, then it's just not going to be as impactful. Some days are harder than others, and you got to really rack your brain to think of, what can I be grateful for today that's different? But it's in that racking your brain that you are forcing your brain to search for the positive, and it trains it to do that all the time. And when you start seeing the positives, you start seeing the bright side, you start seeing the opportunity in even the stress and the tragedies, then you're just going to attract more. And it's really amazing how 2 minutes a day can make a huge difference in the way you see the world. But it's a skill, it's an exercise, it has to be practiced. Now, I said put them together because we are taught, we have coaches and we coach other chiropractors. We call it our gas card, and we have a little index card, and we have our gratitude, our action, our service that we write on it every day. And you can put it in your pocket and keep it with you. So I want to talk about action. Action is you taking a moment to focus on what is something that I can do today that's going to be my number one priority, that's going to improve my life or the lives of those around me that I care about. What's my highest priority today? And sometimes it's going to be something immediate that, if I do this, it's going to make our lives better today. Other times it's an action towards a bigger goal, the big picture. But every day, if you choose one thing that you are moving yourself forward, and you're just putting one foot in front of the other, you're making progress towards improving your life. And it gives you so much peace of mind to know, well, I at least did this. I'm at least moving the needle in the right direction. So every day, the gratitude's your action, and then service. So when we do something kind for someone else, 3 people benefit. The person who gives the kindness receives a benefit. That's good for you emotionally. It's also good for the person who receives the kindness, right? And if anyone witnesses the kindness, then they also receive a benefit. So when we go outside of ourselves, we benefit and others benefit. And if you think about it, when we're feeling nervous, anxiety, depressed, stressed, what we're focusing on right then is probably us, probably internal, right? If we can turn the focus outward and think, how can I make life a little better for someone else? It shifts you from worrying about your stuff for even just a minute and helps you step out of it. And the service, the kindness, it could be something super small. It could be just, I'm going to send a funny text message to someone I know who could use a laugh. I'm going to smile at a stranger. It could be something like, registering, making an appointment to go donate blood, or dropping off some food at a food bank. There's a million different ways to reach out and do something for someone else, and you're going to benefit too. So, I'd like to point out quickly that chiropractic adjustments are another tool in the toolbox that when life gets back to normal, and you get back to, being able to, get here or get to your chiropractor, an adjustment is working to balance your sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve system as well. And even when we don't realize it, subluxations or misalignments, malfunction in the spine is creating stress and irritation to the nerve system. So an adjustment that restores proper movement to the spine, stimulates the parasympathetics, and gets everything back in balance again. So, a lot of us can't access all of these tools right now, but these are great tools. And I do want to point out something that I think is really important, that the morning is the most important time of your day. How we start out in life, how we start out in the day is going to set the tone for the rest of the day. I want you to think of yourself like a sponge. What are you going to soak up, right? Because whatever you soak up, you're going to spill on the rest of your day. I don't want to soak up stress, worry, negative, outside in stuff, junk. I don't want to soak that up first thing in the morning, because then I'm going to be spilling that over on the rest of my life. I want to soak up what fuels me, what lifts me up, what keeps me positive and helps me be more resilient. So I urge you not to open the inbox, not to open the social media, not to even go anywhere near any of that stuff until you've soaked up what fills you up in the morning. So maybe take a few minutes to create a morning routine, create a little structure for your day. I know everything has just been thrown upside down. We don't know what to do with ourselves. Everything is different. So take a minute, set aside some time, take you 2 minutes to get some ideas of how am I going to structure my day, but pay particular attention to your morning. If I can encourage you to take at least the tool of the gas drill, the gratitude action service, and make that the first thing that you do every day. That works for me. But create a structure, create a routine that's working for you. Doesn't have to be super rigid. Take some of these tools that you learned here, try to put them into your routine. Maybe carve out some time for movement in your day. Maybe carve out some time for the deep breathing. Maybe put in your schedule, this is the time that I need to go to bed. This is how I'm going to be ready and fueled for the next day. Look for something that's going to fill you up in a positive way in the morning. Do not go looking for something positive on the internet when you wake up tomorrow morning. Have that ready to go. And I just want to let you know that connection with other humans is really important. And in this time where we have to be social distancing, which is critical and important, it's also taking away one of our coping mechanisms as humans. So let's connect in other ways. We are here for you at Optimal Spine Chiropractic. If you need anything, you reach out to us. We are especially happy to help you with maybe figuring out some exercise. Even if you need some help, picking up groceries, or just let us know. We're here for you. I want to point out that if you are really struggling and you're dealing with anxiety or depression, the stress is really becoming burdensome for you, don't wait. Ask for help. It's really important, especially right now. This is unprecedented what we're dealing with. I don't know if any of you know this, but Dr. Mark's father is a therapist. He works at the Family Counseling Center, and they have just converted to being able to do telemedicine. So you can reach out for that contact information. I have the number here. For them, it's 410-665-8081. You can call directly your insurance company and see who would be a covered provider for you. If you're really in crisis, don't wait to contact someone like that. The Harford Crisis Center has a helpline, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. And it's good to just have those numbers and know that if you need them, they're there. In the meantime, next week we're going to be talking about immune system support, right? The things that you can do, some more actions that you